It began as just another Tuesday morning, or so it seemed. Staff at a popular Taco Bell outlet arrived to the familiar scent of seasoned beef and the promise of a busy day serving up Crunchwrap Supremes. However, something was distinctly amiss. A void on the wall where vibrant colour once hung. An original painting, a piece of considerable local acclaim and surprising value, was gone. The news rippled through the community and then, with the speed of social media, across the nation. An art heist at Taco Bell. The very notion seemed preposterous. A headline concocted for a satirical newspaper rather than a genuine criminal investigation. The decision by Taco Bell to integrate valuable artworks into their restaurant interiors was, to put it mildly, an unconventional corporate strategy. The idea was to create a more engaging and aesthetically pleasing dining experience, transforming their outlets from mere eateries into spaces that offered a dash of cultural enrichment alongside their tacos and burritos. This initiative was met with a mixture of surprise and, admittedly, some skepticism from both the public and the art world. The program, internally dubbed Art Bell, aimed to democratize art, making it accessible and part of the everyday landscape. The first act in this peculiar drama unfolded in Scottsdale, Arizona, a city known more for its upscale resorts and art galleries than for fast food-related felonies. The Taco Bell on Chaparral Road was one of the flagship locations for the new art initiative, boasting a particularly striking abstract piece by a rising star in the southwestern art scene. The painting, a swirling vortex of desert colours valued at a considerable sum, was the pride of the restaurant. One morning, however, it was simply gone. The theft was executed with a level of professionalism that stunned both the restaurant management and the local police force. There were no signs of forced entry. The alarm system, records showed, had been expertly bypassed, suggesting a thief with more than a passing knowledge of security measures. Adding to the intrigue was a small, almost polite, calling card left at the scene. Propped against the empty picture hook where the vibrant canvas had hung was a simple, typed note. It contained a single word: borrowed. The Scottsdale heist set a precedent. The Scottsdale incident was not an isolated event. It was merely the opening salvo in what would become a series of audacious art heists targeting Taco Bell restaurants across several states. Within weeks, another painting vanished from a Taco Bell in Austin, Texas, followed by a similar theft in San Diego, California. Each crime bore the same hallmarks: a sophisticated bypass of security systems, the careful removal of the artwork without any damage, and an almost complete lack of forensic evidence. The thief, or thieves, moved with a ghostly precision, selecting specific pieces from Taco Bell's collection, always contemporary works by emerging artists, and always executing the thefts flawlessly. The consistency of the method was striking. The targets were exclusively Taco Bell restaurants participating in the art initiative, ignoring countless other businesses that might have seemed more lucrative or easier targets. This specificity suggested a motive that went beyond mere financial gain. The media lapped it up, portraying the bandit as a sort of Zorro figure for the art world. As the number of stolen artworks mounted and the heists crossed state lines, the Federal Bureau of Investigation inevitably became involved. Special agents with experience in art crime were assigned to the case, bringing national resources to bear on what had become a perplexing and high-profile series of thefts. The FBI's art crime team, accustomed to dealing with international smuggling rings and thefts from prestigious museums, found themselves confronting a uniquely modern enigma: a thief who targeted fast food restaurants with the finesse of a seasoned gallery infiltrator. The initial stages of the federal investigation were fraught with challenges. The thief was exceptionally careful, leaving almost no traceable evidence at the crime scenes. Security footage was either expertly avoided or yielded only fleeting glimpses of a figure whose identity remained obscured. The notes, while providing insight into the thief's mindset, offered no direct clues to their identity, being typed on common paper with standard ink. The breakthrough, when it finally came, was subtle. At the scene of the fourth heist, in a newly opened restaurant in Denver, Colorado, a tiny oversight occurred. Forensic analysis revealed it to be a material commonly used in the manufacture of custom-fitted foam inserts for professional art transport cases. Just as law enforcement agencies felt they were closing in, or at least beginning to understand their adversary, the heists abruptly stopped. After a string of meticulously planned thefts that had kept Taco Bell and the FBI on high alert for months, the Taco Bell art bandit seemed to vanish as suddenly as they had appeared. Then, an unexpected development occurred, not at a restaurant, but at Taco Bell's corporate headquarters in Irvine, California. A large, securely wrapped package arrived via a reputable courier service, addressed generically to the art program custodians. Inside, there was no ransom demand, no threatening message, and certainly no explosive device. Instead, nestled within layers of protective wrapping, was a pristine, hardback copy of a renowned art conservation handbook, its pages unmarked except for a single, elegantly printed bookmark. The investigation into the courier service that delivered the art conservation handbook to Taco Bell headquarters eventually bore fruit. Though the sender had used a false name and paid in cash, a sharp-eyed clerk at the dispatch office recalled a detail about the customer. A faint scent of archival paper and a particular type of canvas tote bag, often favoured by art students and museum staff. This seemingly minor observation, combined with painstaking cross-referencing of individuals with access to specialised art materials and a known passion for contemporary art preservation, led investigators to a name. Rebecca Martinez, a freelance art restorer and consultant who had previously and unsuccessfully pitched a conservation proposal to Taco Bell for their art initiative. Following a period of discreet surveillance, authorities obtained a warrant to search Martinez's unassuming suburban home. What they discovered in her converted basement was astonishing. It was not the squalid den of a common criminal, but a meticulously organised, climate-controlled environment that resembled a small private museum. Here, displayed with professional lighting and accompanied by neatly printed labels detailing their provenance and artistic significance, were all the artworks stolen from the Taco Bell restaurants. Each piece was in immaculate condition, clearly having received expert care. It was less a thief's hoard and more a curator's sanctuary, a hidden gallery dedicated to the very art she had illicitly acquired. Rebecca Martinez, a woman in her late 30s with a quiet demeanour and an evident passion for her field, offered no resistance when confronted. During her subsequent interviews with investigators, Rebecca Martinez was calm and articulate, readily confessing to the thefts but steadfastly refusing to label herself a common thief. Instead, she portrayed herself as an art saviour, a reluctant custodian forced into action by what she perceived as Taco Bell's negligent and disrespectful treatment of valuable cultural assets. She explained that she had initially been excited by Taco Bell's art initiative, seeing it as a novel way to bring contemporary art to a wider audience. However, upon visiting several of the restaurants, she had been appalled by the conditions in which the artworks were displayed, subject to fluctuations in temperature, humidity, grease-laden air, and the general rough and tumble of a busy fast food environment. Martinez elaborated on her motives with a fervent conviction. She believed these artworks, many by promising young artists, were being actively endangered and devalued by their placement in Taco Bell. Her attempts to engage with the corporation, offering her professional services to improve conservation standards, had been politely rebuffed. Frustrated and increasingly concerned for the art's welfare, she had decided to take matters into her own hands. The borrowed card was her initial, somewhat whimsical statement implying a temporary custodianship. The later message, "This piece deserves better," was a more direct articulation of her core belief. These creations merited a more respectful and stable environment than a fast food chain could provide. Following Rebecca Martinez's arrest and confession, the artworks were carefully catalogued and prepared for return. The process was somewhat surreal, with FBI agents and art handlers under Martinez's surprisingly cooperative guidance on proper packing techniques, transferring the collection from her basement sanctuary back into the custody of Taco Bell. Taco Bell, whilst relieved to recover its property, found itself in an awkward position. The heists and Martinez's rationale had inadvertently sparked a public debate about the appropriateness of displaying valuable art in fast food settings and the responsibilities that came with such an initiative. In the aftermath, Taco Bell made a significant corporate decision. Citing the considerable security challenges and the negative publicity generated by the heists, the company announced the indefinite suspension of its ambitious art program. The recovered pieces, along with others from their collection, were quietly deaccessioned, many finding their way to local museums or being returned to the artists. The dream of chalupas and canvases coexisting harmoniously had, it seemed, come to an end, a casualty of one woman's extreme form of art appreciation. Rebecca Martinez faced the legal consequences of her actions. Despite public sympathy from some quarters who saw her as a principled, if misguided, art lover, the law was clear.